I'll just back it down, Robert.
Remember Roger Beatty, who said losing his farm was the best thing that ever happened to him? He began diving for abalone, or as Kiwis call it, paua, and a new business was born.
I started diving around that 84 period, and we'd go out and dive off the shore, and I can remember we were getting $1 a kilo at the time.
Before the reforms, there were only 5 licenses to export canned paua. But with the new QMS, the market opened up and Roger jumped in as a harvester.
True competition came into the marketplace, and our price came up to the world price. And it was onward and upwards from there, and then I bought more and more quota. I could see that the abalone game was a good one to be in.
But Roger always had an eye out for new opportunities. The abalone, like the oyster, is capable of producing pearls.
They're very rare in the wild, and we did a bit of experimentation. Okay, this is an abalone, paua, New Zealand paua, and we've got a couple of pearls in there. The natural product doesn't suit most jewellery manufacturing. They like a uniform size.
Roger experimented with a new technique to induce farm-raised abalone to produce smooth, symmetrical pearls that can be made into jewellery. It worked.
So we nucleate them with a half-round. It's a half-round Mabe, and we put it against the shell, and then 3 years later we harvest it. So it takes a long time to lay that nacre down. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm taking off the paua. You've got to be very careful with it. We started off with 2 barrels in the water and then moved up to 10, and then we manufactured our own barrels, and then we moved up to 50 barrels and then to 100 and then several hundred, and just got better and better at it all the time. Just putting it back in the water. They'll go back in the water for a week, and then we will bring them out and feed them again.
Over the next 5 years, Roger's business grew. Just as many other small entrepreneurs were able to adapt and thrive during the rapid changes in the New Zealand economy. But this wasn't an easy transition period for everyone. By 1990, Roger Douglas and the Labour Party had shaped the economic landscape here for 6 years. Changes had been difficult, and the Labour Party had fallen out of favour. After the 1990 election, the National Party came back into power. Another no-nonsense finance minister is appointed. She is Ruth Richardson.
It's like a passing of the baton in a relay. I was able to do a sprint that he wasn't able to with the reforms.
So in some sense, it was a 1-2 punch. In both cases, reforms moving in the direction of greater openness, greater transparency, greater government accountability, and better incentives for the private sector.
So take our agricultural sector and take the meat industry and the slaughterhouse. So you had a closed shop, and I say this as a feminist as much as a finance minister. You had a closed shop, the boys had all the good jobs, they stopped the women doing the jobs that really paid well. You had to belong to the union, and the union said who worked where and for what wages. There were 25,000 people working in the railways. 25,000 people only needed to be 5,000 people. So when you disrupt 20,000 people who are in pretend work, how are they going to re-enter the workforce if you've got all these closed shop arrangements?
All those things was a form of privilege that helped a few people who were employed in that industry, but cost every other New Zealander, including the low income, a lot of money.
And in 1994, the job growth exploded. People were free to work.
New Zealand, I think, got the combination right. They reformed the private sector and they reformed the public sector basically at the same time.